Writers. Today I want to teach you that writers collect ideas for stories, not only by discovering tiny details that could blossom into whole stories, but also by thinking about the stories they believe should exist. Sometimes they get ideas for stories by thinking, how can I write a story for people like me so I can see myself in books? Oftentimes, when you are looking through the library shelves for a book, you are looking to find yourselves in a story. I may find myself wanting a book about someone like me who is afraid of her parents getting divorced, or a book about a kid who is usually the last one picked for sports because she's not any good at them, or a kid whose mother said, "You need to be grateful for everything you have because not everyone is as lucky as you are." Exactly when the kid was feeling his lowest. Maybe one of you searches library shelves for a kid who lives with his aunt, or a kid who likes to draw, or someone who wants to have a blog. If you long to find yourself in a book and no book seems to tell the story that you want told, then you might decide it's important to put your truth onto the page in your own story. The author Thomas Berger once said, "Why do writers write? Because it isn't there." Let me show you how I use this strategy to come up with a story idea. The first thing I do is to think about the books I want to read. I always wish there were more stories about people who were half Mexican, kids whose fathers are Mexican and whose mothers aren't, and who are maybe wanting to be more popular than they are. So in my notebook, I'll write down my story ideas. I don't just write the big outline of my story, girl with Mexican dad and American mom. I want to put the stuff about a Mexican father together with true little details, like the part about myself being afraid of the dark and wanting a nightlight. Those had been separate items on my list. The girl who was half Mexican, the girl who wants to be more popular. But in the story plan, I often combine things that were once separate. Watch what I do. A girl who is half Mexican lives with both her parents, but she thinks her father works too much. She wishes her father were around more, because when he's around, she feels less lonely. But his job keeps him far away, and the girl tries to put on a brave face so her parents don't worry about her. Do you see, writers, that when writing my story idea, I didn't just say, I wish there were books on kids who were half Mexican. I actually jotted a few sentences about how such a story might go. And specifically, I thought about what the character might want and what she might struggle for. Characters in all stories have big longings. Here's an idea you should hold on to. When you're collecting ideas for stories in your writer's notebook, you get ideas not only from rereading old entries, but from thinking about books you wish existed in the world. Now it's your turn to try. Go back to the lesson platform for the next activity.